Yeah, hello,
Hello
Alex.
again.
It's recording. It gives me this little message whenever. Sometimes when I start, it didn't give me one last time, but
Oh,
it gave me one that said recording's finished. So yeah, it's working.
okay.
So yeah, I don't. We could just start, and then if there's, we'll just bring them into the mix.
Um,
Did you have any questions first? I guess that's a good place to start.
oh, I don't know. I'm not sure how we're best to introduce Sabus, and do we know what the other characters being introduced, or would theoretically be introduced today? Uh,
There was Sergey. That's the other Tim. That's what
okay.
his name's Tim as well. Uh, I kind of just nicknamed him the other Tim on YouTube, and he kind of liked that, and he stuck with it.
That
So,
works.
um, but yeah, everyone has pretty much come to this town from the last played out town that you guys were at. There's no more jobs left. You're basically just wandering around. You started rescuing kittens. Like there was nothing left to do. Like even all the nefarious things we're pretty much done with.
And hope.
So you started hearing rumors about this town called Pembrooktonshire that was somewhere off that way, maybe, and a lot of people weren't really sure. You couldn't really talk to anyone who had actually been there. There were strange rumors in the town, like maybe the rumor you heard was that they sort of have strange rituals for the dead. That's pretty much all you really got out of all the talk of the place, and that there's a lot of craftsmen and a lot of expensive goods and services are kind of had there, or they export them. So it just sounded like a good place to go. And some of your other adventurers, the guild that you're a part of, had already gone on ahead of everyone else. So you're kind of like a latecomer. You've been well. How about you describe what you have been doing? What have you been doing in this town that doesn't really have a lot to do?
Well, one of the first things was Tavis purchasing a map. That seemed important. Um, and at this point, I think he's just uh, browsing about, trying to find. Oh, wait, the town with the very.
Yeah, the town that you were in before. We'll handle
Oh
it.
dear. Um,
Just basically like a summary of what you've been doing for the last like 2 months. I don't know.
I think that he had sort of a bad lead as to uh, a job just outside of the town. There was a farmhouse that someone told him to go um, clear out and comb through because there was supposed to be an old box with a a bunch of valuable valuable old stuff in it. Um, but it turned out that the box was just full of decaying rags, and he wound up cleaning their barn for them for nothing.
Wow. Okay, so after your last thrilling adventure of discovering a box of rags and cleaning things off, you finally decided that yes, this town is totally played out. There's nothing for me here. Your funds have been dwindling. Whatever you had got from previous adventures with your group, your bank account's on low. Basically, your satchel of coins. So I guess you decided to head out, and just to make it easy for today, we're going to say that you headed out by yourself.
Okay.
They could come at a later time. That's fine.
Yeah.
You were given a direction. Basically head out of town. Head to the west and follow along that road, and it's down that way somewhere. But they really didn't give you any concrete directions.
Okay.
And you had you had enough. You brought some things to eat and drink. Don't even, not really even what's on your character sheet. I'm just saying extra. But it takes you about a month and a half to get what you were told was like get to a place that was like 5 miles down the road. Lots of twists and turns. The hillsides they make it kind of hard to even figure out what direction you're heading. You swear sometimes you look up at the sun and it's in a different place in the sky than you think it should be. Like, wait a minute, I was going west. How am I going north now? Like, you just get very disoriented. And maybe even at some point you decide, maybe, you know what, screw this, I'm heading back to town, the one you just came from. And lo and behold, that's when you actually arrive at Pembrooktonshire. You see this small sign that just has the name of the town, population 3,000. You're not welcome is the little phrase that is underneath the sign there, which kind of, how do you take that?
Well, it's a curious slogan, to be certain. Does the town look otherwise inviting?
Well, so far, like, there's hillsides to either side of the road. You just see the sign, and the road just sort of like meanders off and, obscures whatever you could see.
Okay.
So you really just see the sign that's saying that, the town is like up ahead, like, pretty close. You see these abandoned, like, gypsy wagons that are there. They look like they haven't moved in quite some time. There's weeds and, small trees growing up around them. They look like they're in great disrepair.
Do they...
I guess another thing you might notice is that the wagon wheels are chained so that they can't move.
Okay. So, is it just like an elaborate parking job? Or...
You're not sure.
Okay. Or they might be impounded.
Yeah.
Well, I suppose that Tavis will go up to these wagons and see if he can peer in any gaps in the slats or tears in fabric or whatever.
Yeah, it isn't too hard to walk right up to him. You don't see a living soul around you anywhere. Although there is a strange raven that's sitting on top of the one of the wagons that sort of tilts its head and kind of like quirks at you strange. But
does Tavis still have any rations kicking around?
Yeah, we'll just say whatever you bought with your starting gold, that's what you have left.
Okay.
Just to make it.
Tavis does not have any food.
So you're hungry then.
Yeah, he definitely is. So he knows that ravens can carry some nasty parasites and stuff, so it's probably not a good idea to eat it. But if it comes to it, he may his gaze may dawn on that again later. For now, though, I think he'll work his way into one of the coaches to investigate, or wagons.
Okay. You look inside. You'll see what looks like. It looks like someone rummaged through things. Pulled stuff down, dumped out boxes. There's various garments and fabrics that are laying around. Looks like perhaps costumes. There's even a few musical instruments, wind instruments. There's like 3 of those, woodwinds. There's a small stringed instrument. There's various just traveling clothes and boots of varying sizes. It looks like there was maybe a couple people, maybe a family, perhaps living in this one. If you look at some of the other ones, it seems like the same calling card or whatever. That all of them look like they were rummaged through, perhaps quickly, to find things. And that's what you see.
That is strange. Are there any identifying, personal effects papers that have things written on them, or clues as to who these people were.
You don't see any actual writing anywhere per se,
Okay.
but you do get sort of like a stylistic impression from the clothes that perhaps these were some sort of gypsies or entertainers or something along those lines. And as you're looking around through papers, you actually find a few dolls and marionettes that have been smashed, broken, the strings snapped or cut.
Very deliberately?
It looks like, yeah, they were deliberately smashed or broken.
That is strange.
Oh, and there's, and then probably the third wagon, I forgot about this. You're gonna smell it first before you get to it. And you're gonna see some flies coming out of the flaps of the canvas and so forth. It just smells like rotting meat. Inside, you're going to find this, what looks to be, maybe it was a pig at one point, but all the skin is just rotted away. There's just a miasma of flies crawling all over it. It looks like there was some sort of ritual, perhaps, performed. There's some blood stains on the floor of the wagon. There are some symbols, but I don't think they would actually jump out at you, other than the fact that they're perhaps maybe ritualistic or arcane in nature. You're not real sure.
Okay, so they don't seem to be a language that I might know.
No, it doesn't seem to be. Although, I don't know if you have a language.
I
have a
have
language skill.
2 on a d6.
Okay, why don't you just roll that? See if you get a 1 or 2.
Okay. I got a 1. Oh.
Okay, so apparently way back when, maybe you were exposed to this language. Maybe some traveling gypsies had maybe come through a town that you were at. It does seem to be a language of the gypsies, so you are familiar with that language. That being the case, then, as you look down at the ritual, it doesn't seem to be anything malign or nasty. Nothing really even dealing with magic per se. It's just a ritual to cleanse wrongdoing, or to basically cleanse oneself, to help forgive oneself.
So it's a cleansing rotten pig ritual.
Yeah, yes. It was some sort of ritual to perhaps maybe bring honor back to his family. It could be a various number of things.
I wonder what this person did that they're so remorseful for. Is the raven within line of sight?
It seems like he's flapped his wings and come over to the third wagon, and his head is tilted down, looking at you.
Interesting. So he's not focused at all on the pig.
No, he seems to be more interested in you.
Okay. I don't speak much Raven, but I'll return his gaze and walk over towards the thing tentatively.
It'll fly down towards the ground, and it seems like it's like pecking at some stones and then looking up at you.
No, this is the ground outside of the wagon?
Yes, just right outside of the wagon.
Okay. If Tavis bends down and moves his hand near the raven, does it scare? Or
okay, so you bend down, you put your hand out. It'll actually flap up onto your like the upper part of your arm.
Oh, that is eerie. Is there anything significant about the stones it was picking at?
They seem to be slightly darker, maybe, than some of the other stones, but that's the only real difference you see.
Okay. So perhaps the raven is attracted to Tavis for his skill for finding rotten things. He's not quite sure what to make of that. Um, but
The wind shifts and the smell of rotting pig thankfully lessens.
that's merciful. I think Tavis may. Just out of curiosity, how well made were the marionettes?
They were pretty well made, actually. It seems like they probably spent about 10 to 20 hours on each one. So, even just looking down at it, you think it's kind of a shame that they were so hastily destroyed in perhaps rage or anger.
I think that he'll attempt to remove there shouldn't be anything inhibiting him from doing so. He'll remove one of the marionettes, the finest, the one that seems like it was the finest work from that wagon.
Okay,
Throw it in his backpack and start walking further.
So that marionette had perhaps the least amount of strings snapped or cut. It maybe is the least damaged. It looks like it's a little girl that was the marionette that was the most skilled.
Interesting. Well, that resonates with Davis for a couple of reasons. And the Raven doesn't seem to budge from.
Every once in a while, it'll peck at your shirt, perhaps, but not so much that it hurts you or anything. It's just sort of looking around. It seems content.
It's just a passenger now.
It seems like it's some of its wings flutter every once in a while. Some of the feathers aren't so densely packed. It seems like it perhaps is relaxed. Not sure.
Well, that's not so bad.
At this point, you probably hear the sound of galloping horses coming from behind you, coming down the road towards town.
Interesting. I think he'll duck into one of the wagons and peek through the cloth to see if, to appraise the situation from hiding.
Okay. Do you go into the wagon with the rotting pig, or do you go into one of the other two?
I think it'll be the one that had the marionettes.
Okay. So you duck into the wagon. The sound of, gets louder and louder as, you hear the horses coming. They come around a bend. You see the horses emerge, from behind the hillside that's there. Mm-hmm. And there are 12 plate mail clad, like knights, riding at full gallop towards the town.
Oh. Have I heard of the town? Well, I guess I haven't heard much of the town, so I wouldn't know whether they have a guard.
If you have a D20, why don't you roll under intelligence or wisdom? See if you know any, whatever's higher for you.
That would be intelligence.
Do you have any recollection of who these knights might be?
5. So.
Yeah, as long as it's under.
That would be under.
Under or the same, basically.
Yeah.
So you think that these knights are probably spirit knights. It's a very strict order, very conservative. From what you understand, they worship a deity called the All, and that's always in capital letters. Basically, it's the All, and sometimes it's even smashed together. Like there's no space between the two, depending on where they're at. But they're very rigid. You've heard that they're harsh, uncompromising. They do fight evil, but you've heard that they often find evil where it doesn't exist, and that they enact their harsh punishments on those poor innocent civilians and so forth that come under their power or sway.
Okay, I definitely don't want to cross their paths at the moment.
Okay. So the 12 knights will slow down, they'll like a slow gallop, I guess, as they come up towards the wagons. You'll see them stop. There's perhaps some discussion. I believe you have a hear noise skill. Why don't you try to? Or maybe that's not it. We should just roll under wisdom, just with a D20. That'll work.
Sure. Nope, 19. Way
Okay.
over.
So you see that they're discussing something, just in like a low conversational tone, but the road's a little far off from the wagon, so you can't really pick up what they're trying to say. Some of them are pointing towards the town, some are pointing back, some are pointing up into the hillsides on either side of the road. Like, you're guessing maybe they've been lost just like you have. You're not real sure. But eventually the decision is, one points at the sign, and then they all start heading down that direction. Just at pretty much the same hard gallop that they were before. Maybe something else that you would notice is that there's lots of nets on the back of the horses. It seems like maybe each one has like 3 or 4 nets, all bundled up. They don't look like they're going fishing. You're not really sure what that's all about. But they do have a wide assortment of weapons, lots of martial weapons, but there is a few short bows and such on their backs. They seem like they have, perhaps saddlebags filled with, things that you can't see at the moment. But it seems like they have prepared for something, and they are headed towards town.
Well, that's at least promising in terms of excitement and potential glory. Well, I think then Tavis will make a cautious effort to follow their tracks.
Oh, it's not hard at all. The hoof prints are dug deep into the road. It's sort of like a dirt road with maybe some small stones on it.
All right.
But,
I don't think he needs to really worry about them looking back and seeing him, because they've probably created quite a gap between them already. So he'll just follow in their hoofprints.
Okay. So you basically head back towards the town. Let me find my map here. Okay, this is where you start to see the mountains climbing off in the distance. They seem to you're not even sure how they were hidden from view, other than the hillsides. Must have just been in the way. But they climb pretty high up. They're covered in what seems to be kind of this strange red-leafed tree. As far as the eye can see, it's just the hills are just like a blood red color.
And it's not fall or anything.
No, it's not. That's it strikes you as very strange at first. You don't think you've ever you would probably be expecting evergreens and deciduous trees with green leaves, but no, it's red as far as the eye can see. Any place that there's trees, that color is like a stain on the side of the hills and the mountains that they're a part of. So yeah, you definitely see the mountains off in the distance. There seems to be a lake that's to the side of the hill. Side of the mountain, but the town starts to appear. It seems like it's just like a unique architecture all of its own. It doesn't seem to be like there's a lot of windows. Some businesses have them, some places have them, but you see there's various small farms around it, and there seems like there's some large center of town. So, off in the distance, and there's some various large buildings around it. That's, probably the only reason you could tell that it's a circle. But yeah, that's what you see as you're coming up towards town. Let's see what else that you see here. Just ready to check the map. So you're going to see what looks like several farms. There's an orchard. It just looks like there's a farm that they're growing corn, perhaps potatoes, and other things like that. But you don't see anybody out on those places. You're going to see a sign that says Lady Matilda's Comfort House, and you can tell that it's probably some house of pleasure. There's a balcony that goes all the way around it with lots of chairs. But for whatever reason, the women aren't out. It seems like everyone is indoors at the moment. You will see a sheep farm that's off to your left. There's various sheep that are milling about. Seem like they aren't moving around as a group. They seem like they're you don't think you've ever seen sheep move this way. They all move as individuals. They're not really huddling together to be protected by their fellow sheep. So that's maybe one thing that you notice.
Now, do they seem to have any peculiar business as individuals, or are they just
You'll see.
not interested in?
You're not sure. You will see that there's one in particular that seems like it's trying to chew down the fence.
Okay.
It has a pile of wood chips and splinters. Its mouth is bleeding. You'll see some splinters sticking out of its lips and its face, and at the top of its head. Perhaps it even tried to smash through the gate, the fence to get out.
Does it look rabid?
I
don't know if that happens with sheep.
It doesn't look like. I don't know. There's something wrong with it. There's something different about it. But
Okay.
yeah, its lips are bleeding. But that's Do you?
And there's no sign as to where the farmer is, eh?
Hell, you haven't seen a single living person since you've come into town so far. It's almost like everyone is maybe hiding.
Which I would assume means that the knights are out of line of sight.
Yes, you don't see the knights anymore.
Okay.
They definitely rode hard off. Like you're walking and following their trail. So.
Oh yeah.
And the trail leads right through this area, so they have come this way.
Okay.
As you continue to move, let's see here. You'll come up to the ironmonger. It seems like he has a table set out in front, various chain links that he's working to putting together. Looks like there's a roaring fire where you think maybe he does some forging. It almost looks like he was here, and now he's not. So, almost like if someone would come into your house right now, whatever you're doing at the moment is interrupted. That's kind of the sensation you get when you look at his setup and what he was doing. He's just no longer there. The fire's still going. There's metal tools and so forth that are laid out, looking like they were going to be used in a couple minutes time, but he's not here. You'll also see a sign for a business that says Quentin's Pipes and Fittings, and there is a man there. He's sort of looking left and right outside of his door. And he does notice you, and he he just sort of tilts his head and he starts walking towards you. Are you there?
I am in fact.
What was the last thing that you heard?
Something about the pipes and fittings fellow looking left and right.
Yeah, and then he sees you there, and he'll start making his way over towards you. He has sort of like sandy blonde hair. He seems like he's about average height, maybe about 5.5 to 6 feet tall. He's dressed in comfortable work clothes, and he seems like he works for a living. And he makes his way over to you, and
and do I still have a raven on my arm?
Apparently you do. Yeah, it hasn't fled. It hasn't moved or anything.
Well, as long as he's not put off by that. I suppose Tavis will just say, "Hail! Where is everyone?"
Are you with the knights? Are you accompanying them?
Well, I wouldn't say accompanying. I was wandering over to see what they were up to.
You'll see him look to his right. Not now, please. Be quiet. They came through. Shut up! He turns to his right again. They came through town, and they were dragging people behind them.
So he's talking through his shoulder. Is that basically what's?
Yeah. He just looks to his right every once in a while, and he said those things.
Okay. What business do they have here?
They just rode in like they owned the place. The knight that was here before, he must have fled and got more of his order.
Is that why no one's in public?
Stop tickling my thigh.
I'm not, sir.
Oh, not you.
You want me to tickle your thigh?
No. He looks like towards the direction where the horses have went, and you can see some drag marks. It seems like maybe they used some of those nets.
Would you prefer we talk inside?
He is looking around a lot. Yeah, sure. Come on in, come on in. And you'll sort of see him reach his hand out to the right and grab what looks like maybe like if there was a child beside him. He's like grabbing them by the hair and like almost like dragging them behind him.
Oh.
Come on, that's enough of your fussing. And he
Does it seem like there's real weight behind it? Like, just looking at his arm, I mean, or are there patterns in the dust?
You don't see any patterns in the dust, and you do get the feeling that maybe he's trying to, I don't know, like maybe, like he thinks there's someone there, but there isn't.
Oh, okay, interesting. All right, well, more cautiously now, Tavis will continue following him in and start to wonder whether this was a bad idea.
So he goes forward and continues to drag along what you're guessing is some invisible child.
Mm-hmm. His weightless friend.
You'll go inside the building and there's lots of pipe wrenches and tools and various size pipes. Some pretty large actually. Looks like they're pretty heavy to lift up. You'll get the kind of wafting smell of sewage, and you'll see on the ground that there are some dark footprints. So you think maybe he deals with the sewers if this place has some. You wouldn't expect a small town like this to have something that's normally found in larger cities, well-to-do cities. But it seems like there must be running water and pipes and something under the town.
That's interesting. Are the streets paved or cobblestone?
It seems
are they just dust.
At this point, the streets do take on more of a rocky stone, kind of like a gravel driveway.
Okay.
So they seem like they're more upkept than the road here. You'll see him motion with his arm like he's almost like pushing / throwing whatever he thinks is in his hand off towards the right there, and there's some like children's tools. They're kind of like pipe wrenches and things, carved out of wood and little tiny pipes that are all fit together.
Okay.
It looks like maybe like a child's area. Like someday you're gonna work with pipes. Let's practice, that sort of thing.
Little apprentice.
Yeah, his little invisible abused apprentice. That's the kind of feeling that you're getting from the pipes.
That's great. And does it look like the little child's tools are actually used, or are they just sitting in dust?
They're covered with dust. Okay.
Well, that's in some ways reassuring, in some ways not.
He'll turn around and he'll look like right into your eyes, and he doesn't really blink very much. They came in, and it sounds like they're taking people. I think they might be doomed.
Sorry?
I think those people that they took, they're probably going to kill them. Or question them, put them to the question. Isn't that what they do? I'm not sure.
And you don't have a town guard?
We do have a militia, but
And where are they?
I don't know. I don't see any of them. Everyone's hiding. Are you friends with the outsiders? The ones that have come, the sheriffs of the town now? The deputies.
I couldn't say. I'm certainly not friends with the knights in particular.
Oh, well, that's good. The last knight that was here was very problematic. He would beat old women in the streets for not averting their eyes, and we were glad when he finally left, but it seems like he's brought more. I wish your friends would have killed that knight when they had him in prison. Yeah, you have no idea what he's talking about, obviously.
No. Davis is pretty confused. So he changes the subject. Are you friends with the smithy over there? He's left his forge running.
Yes, he was taken as well.
Oh.
They were just dragging them like animals behind their horses.
And you saw all this?
I was looking out my window.
Where did they take them to?
I believe they were headed towards the center of town, up the road there. I wouldn't go that way if I were you. No, you don't use the purple pipes! You use the blue pipes like I told you! He's pointing over towards the kids' area. He grabs up a chunk of pipe and he like hurls it in that direction, smashing and clattering with some of the other pipes that are there. Ah, stupid bitch!
Well, nevertheless, I should likely leave you to your business. Well, thank you for letting me know. Giving me the appropriate warnings and such.
If you see your friends, tell them thank you for what they did in the sewers.
Oh, yes. Of course, Tavis just thinks he's raving about more invisible buddies. And as politely as possible, but also as quickly as possible, steps out the door.
You'll see him pointing over in the direction of the child's area, and he's yelling something else. But you've probably closed the door behind you at this point.
Yeah,
and you're out the door.
Okay. I think. What's the construction of the smithy shop like?
The construction? Like, what's the building like?
Yeah, is it wood or?
Oh, yeah, it seems to be.
I'm basically wondering about the fire code here.
Yeah, it's made out of wood.
Tavis is fairly familiar with the forge, so I think he'll go over and just douse the flames and see if there are any signs of particular projects the fellow was working on. Obviously, there were chains, yeah?
Yeah, it seemed like he was forging chains at the moment. That's what he has, is various chains that have been, heated up and then twisted together to, he's working a link at a time, basically.
Do they seem like the same handiwork as the chains on the gypsy wagons?
They do, actually.
Interesting.
They seem to be the same weight, same strength.
Okay. And it seems basically like its chains are us. There aren't many.
You're outside of the place. He had the forge is outside. There's a table outside with tools on it. So yeah, there is the business that's still there. In fact, the door is probably slightly open.
That makes sense. Actually, I think Tavis will take a peek.
Okay.
Browse through his wares.
Inside, you'll find various tools and so forth that have been made. Almost something that like a blacksmith could make. There's some pitchforks. There's hoes and shovels. Various like metal shelves that you think would hang on walls and stuff. With somebody's house inside the town. It seems like it's a very practical place. Right. Things that you could buy that you might use in your house.
So there's really nothing unusual about this smith shop.
It seems to be pretty decent as far as that goes. Let me check something.
Okay. Maybe they're taking all the normal people out of town. Well, I think in that case, Tavis will step back out and start making his way towards the center of town.
Okay.
Advisable. But if there are alleyways and such he can wander through rather than main streets, I think he'll try to figure that out.
Okay. So it looks like if you continue straight down this the main thoroughfare here, you will you're basically pretty close to the edge of what you think is the town center, like a circle. You think you could either go to the left with the town center in front of you, or to the right. There are some side streets that are there. So which do you want to do?
Okay. I think that Avis will go to the right.
Okay. So some of the businesses that you see there, let's see here. You're going to see a store that says Proper Foot Attire and Cooper Pembroke. Those are two businesses that are right there. You'll see every once in a while someone looking out the windows of these businesses, but again, you see nobody out on the street. And another one that you might see. You see Sybil Orphan's Cottage and Wilberforce Residence. It just has their name, right above their door. And as you're walking down the street, you're starting to hear the sounds of screaming coming from the center of town, pleading, crying. You hear the sound of a whip, the sound of lashes being given.
Okay, well,
but like I said, you're not really, like, you can't see the town center. You just hear it from, you're basically, going around the edge of it, basically.
Okay. Can I find a building that would be able to see town center and enter through the back?
All right. There seems like there's a fairly large building, and it is a temple. It's Temple of the All.
Okay, maybe not that one.
As you do know that the knights are affiliated with that deity.
Right.
But there also seems to be, it seems like the building itself is part temple, and there's another part of it. It's almost like they've saved the need to build a second building. Almost like if you were renting a place, multiple people live there. There's multiple businesses in this one building.
Oh.
It's the second half of it, on the right side of it. It seems to be a schoolhouse. You'll see that there, if you look in through maybe one of the windows there seems like there's some kids and a teacher. But yeah, you think you might be able to crawl on the side of it or enter in through the building. That's what you see at the moment.
Are there alternatives to the Temple of the All and connected affiliated buildings?
Okay, you can keep walking, basically.
I just don't think he sees it as a wonderful idea to stumble directly into, where they might be coming back for their break after killing civilians.
That's fine. So you'll continue walking down. Let's see what else you see here. You'll see the town planner, the Department of Destruction and Rebuilding, is what it says there. Another building you might see. What's that?
I think he'll enter through the back door of the town planner.
Okay. All right. So
if there is one.
Yeah. So you enter through the back door. You go through this. It's a pretty small building. You see lots of tables set up with maps of the town. There's one that's laid out on top that has what looks like the town center, and there's a hastily scribbled crack through the center of it.
Oh.
Okay. Like someone drew a crack through the center of town, and like arrows to it. And you'll see little notes hastily drawn. Must fill in. Repairs to other earthquake damaged buildings.
Well, that piques curiosity. I think that Tavis will make sure he has one of the maps in his bag.
Okay. So you snag a map. And if you want to know, there is the map of the town on the forum. So
yeah, I have access to it right now.
Okay. So basically, you would know most of those businesses, and not necessarily who's there, but just what the names of them are.
Okay.
So you walk through that building, and you come out the other side. It seems like there's another building there, and that one is listed as Extravagant Wagons and the Alchemist's Art. And if you look down at your map hastily, you think that if you get through this building, you could peek out into town center.
Okay, excellent. Is it a one-story building?
It looks like it's probably about 2.
Okay. I think that Tavis will again try to enter and see if he can find stairs upwards.
Okay. So the one that you enter in that seems like it's the easiest to do that is the Alchemist's Art.
Mm-hmm.
You will enter in through the side door, and you'll hear somebody in the back moving jars or canisters behind this cloth. Not really a door, just something they slide, almost like something you'd hang in front of a window. And they're moving stuff back there. You see sort of like a shop with various vials of liquid. You'll see lots of things that are like blank tonic, like sore ankle tonic, and itchy ass tonic. All kinds of various medicinal or questionable things that you would drink. That sort of thing.
Okay. I think Tavis is going to sneak just to the point where he can see who is sifting through the inventory.
Okay. So how about you give me
a stealth?
Yeah, stealth sounds good.
Okay. Just need to see what that was again.
That'll just be a D6 roll.
Yeah. Oh, great. So I just failed it.
Oh, so you're like one off?
Yes.
Okay, let's see here. I'll roll something for her. All right, well, you still hear the clanking of jars. You still hear movement back there, so she must not have noticed.
Okay.
But as you do peek, you see a woman that is moving things around. She seems angry.
Oh.
She's ripping labels off and scratching stuff out and writing up new labels and slapping them on the side.
Does she look like a knight?
No, she's not dressed as a knight. She's wearing probably a rough spun skirt. Just like a cloth shirt. Very, very simple. Looks like maybe she made them herself.
Now, can I see any of the items she's getting to? Just so I have an idea what labels she's finding objectionable.
Okay. It seems like this is maybe a personal supply.
Mm-hmm.
Like as you look out into the room where you're at, there's lots of fancy labels and ornate calligraphy on the labels. This almost seems like this is their personal, I don't know.
This is her stash.
Yeah, maybe something that they don't share with the public. It seems like she's changing dates, updating things. You'll see her blow dust off some things every once in a while. She'll crack lids off and smell it and hold it out away from her nose and shakes her head, and she'll put that like in a box that maybe looks like it's older than some of the other ones. In this one though, you'll see things like Wednesday night and Tuesday night, Saturday morning. That's the kind of stuff that is written on the side of the potions and jars, but it doesn't actually tell you what they do.
Okay. So she seems angry, but it also seems like she's still going through what's basically a routine.
It seems like this might be a routine, yeah.
Okay. I was wondering whether she was censoring things so that the knights wouldn't see.
Another thing you would notice too is behind her in what looks like another back room. This is sort of like a hallway with shelves with all these jars and such. There seems like there's this pulsing green glow.
Okay. I think that Tavis will make a mental note of that. But we'll probably see if he can find stairs before exploring that.
Okay. There does seem like if you come out back into the room away from the door, there is some stairs up. It seems like this might be their personal residence. It's sort of roped off, no admittance, employees only. But yeah, it's not hard to duck underneath the chain.
Yeah.
Climb up the stairs.
Tavis thinks you can sneak through.
Yeah.
So he's just going to try and find a window on the second floor that will give him a good vantage of the town square.
Yeah, there is a spot probably closer to where that temple was. It sort of kind of goes up against that wall there. But yes, you can see over into the town center. It seems like there's probably about 30 people that have been gathered together in nets. They seem like they've been dragged from various parts of the town. You don't see anybody else other than these people and the knights, the 12 knights there. They have their swords out or their axes, and they're making sure that the people that are in nets, stay in the town center. And you do see a large crack going right down through the center of town, from the left side of your vantage point to the right side. Almost like if you would have kept walking, you would have gotten right to the edge of it and looked down and seen it going off away from you. So you would have saw it edge on, and now you're seeing it from the side. So they are, right beside the crack. They have people in nets. They're holding them at sword point. You don't see any of these militia that you've heard about.
Right.
It seems like the knights are having their way. There's what looks like a young boy that has been strapped to. I guess another thing I forgot to mention. There's a platform that looks about the size of maybe someone if they laid down, almost like a small bed. There's some flies and some crows and so forth on the top of that platform. Seem like they're eating things. Looks like maybe even a body was there at one point. So maybe some of those rumors about rituals of the dead start rattling around in your head. But that platform is on top of these four poles, like probably about the size of telephone poles, roughly hewn trees that have been sunk into the ground. And on one of those poles, this young man, probably about 12 or 14 years old, is being lashed in the back by one of these knights. And he's not taking it easy at all. He's putting every ounce of effort into his task before him.
Oh. Alright, that's not great. Does it look like they're forcing people into the cracks, or they just happen to be there and the people are easily able to avoid them? Yeah,
the crack is probably about 2 feet wide, so you haven't seen any of the knights jump over it yet, but you assume that's what people do. Yeah, they're just there. They seem like they might be asking questions, although the one that's being whipped is not being asked anything.
Right, it's just a punishment.
Yeah.
Well, I think that Tavis is too practical to think he can do anything to stop that at the moment. At least without risking his hide. So he may slip back downstairs and see if he can sneak by and check out that green glowing room.
Okay. So you'll start going down the stairs. You'll hear the woman. She's still in the back. Why don't you give me another stealth roll?
Okay.
What you
got? Okay. 1 over again.
All right. Let's see how angry she is. All right. This time she puts the jar that she's relabeling down, and she looks over in your direction, but she can't see you at this point. And she'll start moving towards the cloth that's in the doorway.
Interesting.
But she's coming right for you. Do you need some help?
Yes, please.
And then she'll move her hand and moves the cloth away. Oh, I haven't seen you before. Do you have any aches and pains that need remedied?
Well, my hands get awfully cracked.
Perhaps a draught for your bird there.
I'm not sure what a bird like this would take. And it's not really mine. It's been following me.
Oh. I think one of the gypsies had that.
The gypsies? I found some wagons just outside town.
Oh, yes. That would be theirs. Well, I wonder why it likes you.
Are the gypsies around? Perhaps I could return it to them.
Oh no, they fled. The knights were gonna burn them alive. At least the one knight did. And now the rest of us, I don't know what they're doing out front. I'm afraid to leave the door. Venture out. So I'm doing some cleaning and such, and hope they don't come in. Where's that damn militia at? They should be out there.
Do you know where the militia would normally be at this time?
They're just all townsfolk that are volunteered.
Perhaps they're in the net.
Oh. And she goes to maybe one of the windows that looks, at least it's not as good of a vantage point from down here, but I can't tell from this distance. I'm guessing you're new in town. Is that right?
Yeah, just passing through, seeing what's what.
Are you friends with Ramalzi, I think his name was, and Rayhan and some of their other friends?
Oh yes, they are good buddies of mine, or at least used to be. I'm not sure how they feel about me now. It's been a few months.
They made my husband the mayor.
Oh, I should hope that's a good thing.
Yeah, it is. He's gone away, a lot now, but most of the work for the business falls to me. But it's good for us. We have more income. And
are you less likely to be dragged into town square under nets?
If I said I was the wife of the mayor, they might not do that, but I don't know. These knights don't seem to care much at all about local customs or the people
Local
that are in charge.
Like freedom of movement.
They are known. They do strange things. My mother was beat in the streets. She just kept looking at them. That was all that it took.
Tavis suddenly adopts a much less casual tone. He's realizing how callous he's been. And basically just rests a rough hand on her shoulder. And says, I wish there was something I could do to help.
Oh, well, I'm not that lonely. My husband does come back every night, but I appreciate the offer.
Not quite what I meant. I meant regarding the knights.
Oh. Well, maybe you and your friends could do something. They were able to imprison the last night.
Unfortunately, I have no idea where they are.
Oh.
I didn't come into town with them. Have you seen them around recently?
They were talking to my husband, I believe. That's the last that I had heard of them. I haven't seen them around. Perhaps they are doing something outside of town, or I don't know. Your friends have a tendency to go where the wind blows. They do stay at the inn, but I had heard strange rumors about lots of destruction there. Perhaps that would be a good place to start.
Perhaps it would. Thank you. If you don't mind, before I go, I noticed that one of your rooms has this strange glow coming from it. Is that normal or something to be concerned about?
Oh, that's Rupert's rocks. That's we've been selling them. Well, actually, we haven't sold them yet, but we're going to start. We cure all sorts of ailments. You just have to hold it with you for a while.
That sounds marvelously useful.
Well, you are friends with my husband's friends. They put him in power. I think a complimentary Rupert rock would be in order. Just you make sure you tell people where it came from.
Oh, absolutely. I will do my best to advertise for you.
So far, it doesn't seem like there's any side effects or anything.
Well, I've only been holding it for a few moments. So.
Yeah, she basically just hands like this small, like baseball-sized, roughly hewn rock that just has this dull green pulsing glow to it.
Okay.
And yeah.
So she was informing me that there are no side effects.
So far, yeah.
Well, that's good to hear. It's always a risk with these new discoveries. How exactly did you come to make these? Find these?
Oh, well, my husband's not here. He just found it. Just under the building.
Well, I shall have to ask him about it.
Yeah.
When we do, cross paths.
He just dug it up, basically. He was trying to tell people that he had mixed some stuff together, and your friends sort of ferreted that out as a lie. But it just there was a plague that came through town, and it seemed to do wonders for it. It healed people right up.
That is useful. Well then, I should likely be off searching for my friends. We'll see what we can do about these knights.
Yes, I don't know what brought them. They seem to have a dreadful purpose about them.
Now, do they normally hold people there indefinitely? Or
these seem to be full-blown knights. When the one knight was here before, he just had his henchmen with him. They were just sort of like bullies. This is something altogether different.
Okay.
Like that poor young man out there. Ugh. I wonder what he did. Maybe he smiled at them.
Well,
are they... She's looking... I can't tell. Are they cutting pieces of his leg off? She's looking out there. Do you look?
I think that Tavis is trying to deny the gravity of the situation, at least internally. So he kind of looks away and sheepishly exits through the back door.
So
He's in some ways ashamed that there's really nothing he can do.
Okay, so she's looking out the window and talking to you, and she'll turn around and you won't be there. you basically pull a Batman, you just vanish.
More or less.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So when you exit, are you trying to exit so that you are going to come out in the town center, or maybe some other way entirely?
I think some other way entirely.
Okay. So
perhaps retracing steps.
you could go, as you look out the windows, you see that there's what looks like an inn, and that's what you said that you wanted to go, and you look down at your map. So instead of going back, you could go forward, and you think that the inn will cover you. The inn will be between you and the town center, basically.
I would very much like to engineer that situation.
It's not hard at all. You come up from behind the inn. There's an entrance there as well. You'll see some other businesses. Seems like there's like a small triangle of open land, I guess, between the businesses here. But you see some other things as well. Let's see what you find. You'll see canes, crutches, and walking sticks, and buttons for show. That's one of the businesses that you see.
Mm-hmm.
You'll also see Da Vinci's House of Pleasures, the Lucky Strike. Looks like some sort of like gambling house. And what else? As well as the Medicinal Leech, but the doors are all boarded up and nailed shut. Seems like the doctors are no longer taking patients.
Perhaps they ran out of leeches.
Or something else entirely.
Or something else entirely. Yeah.
But you see the inn there. It seems like it's the doors are open.
Okay. Then I'll stroll right in.
Okay. The Raven has just been sitting on your shoulder the whole time.
And he's just hanging out.
Yeah, it seems like he looks at people when you talk to them, like the woman.
Okay.
But he hasn't really moved or anything. He corks his head at you every once in a while. And, he's been pretty quiet too.
Well, I'm still mostly okay with that. Perhaps I can use him as a distraction later. Or food. Well, we'll see how desperate I get. Um,
Do you head inside or do you go
yes.
elsewhere? Okay.
Yeah, just heading in.
So you go through, and the first thing you notice is that the floor has several areas of damage in it. It almost looks like something heavy had walked in here. You'll see cracks, like, oh, that could have been a foot right there, and that could be it's almost like a footprint in wood, with broken down pieces of wood slats, the floorboards. You can just see that there were points where something very heavy maybe stepped there or landed roughly there, but there seems to be like a walking pattern to it. And as you look around, there's various rooms to other side, and you'll see stairs that head up, and same thing. You'll see like 2 or 3 stairs broken in at a very specific spot, as if like a large foot had landed there, as if maybe something had come in and gone upstairs.
Yeah, that's fairly ominous.
It's quiet too, like you can hear your own heartbeat. You can hear yourself breathing.
Well, that probably means that whatever was in here wasn't, or I imagine I'd hear it breathing. Or at least it moving. So I think that, well, the footprints are frightening, not so much to deter Tavis from poking around a bit more. Are there no signs of people? Are there? Or
yeah, other than yourself, it doesn't seem to be anyone in there. It seems like it's still fairly clean. You don't see lots of dust anywhere or anything like that.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Is there like a reception area or a bar or something, or an office within the inn where they might?
Okay, so you see the stairs in front of you, and there is sort of like this common area.
Okay.
Where various tables are set up, like maybe for breakfast, lunch, maybe dinners. There is a bar, and there is a passageway back to what appears to be a kitchen. And there is like this might be an office. Did you do see?
Okay. I think that Tapis will head in towards the office, just in hopes that either someone might be there or there might be clues as to where people went.
Okay. So the door doesn't appear to be locked or anything.
Okay.
You'll head in, and a grisly scene of murder is right before your eyes. There is an old man and an old woman. They seem like they've been smashed to death by something very heavy and very large.
Oh, did the footprints lead here?
You didn't see a lot of damage on the way here, but you do inside the room. You do see, large sections of wall, like something was like maybe slammed into it or was looking around. You do see a few broken areas on the ground itself.
What other sort of incidental objects are there in the room?
There's a bed. There is like I said, the corpse of the man and the woman. They look like they were wearing nightgowns. There is a small desk. Looks like it has just papers on it, like which rooms are occupied, what their names are. And if you look at the top one, it seems like your friends, some of their names appear: Ramalzi, Rayhan, Temper, although his pile is off to the side. Seems like he is outgoing, like he isn't staying there anymore.
Interesting. But Rayhan and Ramalzi haven't left from the looks of it.
No, it seems like they, as far as you can tell from the paperwork, they are staying here.
Okay, that's what I was hoping to find out. Tavis is going to make note of what rooms they're in. Are they numbered, or is there an indication?
It basically just says top of the stairs.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great. So he'll just head up the stairs if he can without falling through them. What remains of them.
Okay.
And see if you can find their rooms.
Okay. So you'll head upstairs and you start peeking into various rooms. The ones top of the stairs to the left. Okay, so you go out there, you look around. You probably go to Rayhan's room first. As soon as you open the door, you'll see blood splatters. You'll see a giant gaping hole in the ground where you think the bed used to be. And if you look down to the first floor, you see a smashed bed, various piles around it. But it looks like the bed was collapsed and crushed, and then people dug through the wreckage. The mattress is sort of flipped over. Some of the wood slats are moved.
Okay, so people definitely dug through, not a giant monster.
It's actually probably pretty hard to tell.
Okay, yeah. Well, that's not as encouraging. All right. I think that Tavis sort of panicked about the condition of Rayhan. Will make his way down to the bed that's fallen through and start picking through the rubble himself and see if there are any signs of what may have been under there.
Okay. As you start digging around, you head down the broken stairs.
Because I haven't found anyone's bodies yet.
No, you didn't see any bodies or anything.
Okay.
In fact, you said you want to look at the other rooms too. The other rooms look fine. It looks like someone slept in them the last night, or maybe a night or two ago. Mm-hmm. It's hard to tell. It seems like they, I don't know if they kept anything in their rooms or not. I think they pretty much carry just about everything with them. But they feel lived in. So, but you go down the stairs and you go into the first floor room that this bed had collapsed into, and you start digging around, and you do see something strange. There's little parts of dark red flesh that are quivering.
Oh,
you probably see about 4 parts. You'll see. I mean, it just looks like red, dark skin that, I don't know. It's just it just twitches every once in a while, or slightly moves.
Can I tell that it's not bits of Rayhan?
You don't remember Rayhan having dark red skin.
Okay, great. So it's definitely surface level flesh.
I'm not sure you ever saw anything like it. It's just little bits, and when I'm talking little, maybe the size of a quarter. Just small bits of dark red flesh that quiver. That's what you see. Like if you lift up a board, there's a piece of flesh there, and you move another slat over. Oh, there's another one right there.
Okay. Well, I don't think that Tavis is going to chance poking these quivering bits of flesh or playing around with them. But he does immediately decide that he needs to figure out where this mayor is. So he'll check down at the map that he pilfered.
Sadly, as you look down at the map, it seems that the mayor most likely resides in the city building, which is right off the outside of the town center. It's probably the largest building in the area.
Okay. Well,
in fact, you think it's directly across the town center from where you're at now. It's the big tall building on the map. So.
Okay.
Or at least the second. Yeah.
I think he's still going to try to skirt around the periphery. It's just his nature to not walk into, a horde of 12 knights who might think he has a familiar on his shoulder. So, as quickly as he can, while maintaining some degree of cover, he will make his way towards the town hall.
Okay, and I'm guessing you're going out the back again?
If possible.
Okay, yes. Yeah, that's where you came from, so that's possible. You'll have to cross an area that there's sort of an alleyway that is on the right side of the inn. and you can see the town center from there. Although the scene of the torture and abuse is obscured by some of the buildings that are there.
The screaming still makes it fairly clear, though, yes?
Oh, yes, there's the screaming has changed. It sounds like perhaps a middle-aged woman that's now screaming.
Okay. Great.
I
wonder what they teach at this school associated with the all. Anyway.
So one of the buildings that you'd see if you're heading in that direction, where's that at? Is the eunuch escort service and the taxidermist. When you look at the taxidermist place, it seems like there's lots of movement inside the building. You'll see sort of like you can't really make out what it is from where you're standing right now, but just looking in through the windows, you'll just see something move from like the left side of the window to the right side of the window, like maybe like further in the building, but it's hard to tell what it is.
But there are no screams of anguish coming from within the building.
That's true.
So that's a positive. Perhaps I will find someone with useful information.
But, it seems like you can continue to skirt around the outskirts if you want, or go there, or
Okay, I may continue for now.
Okay.
Just to see if I can find the mayor and figure out where my people are.
So yeah, you'll be walking down these winding, narrow streets, maybe not even wide enough for a cart to go by. If someone even was even walking, it might be, oh, here, I'll move off into this alcove while you move past me. That sort of tight kind of space. The buildings are sort of climbing up to your left and right and, overhanging, so there's not really much natural light that's filtering down through. You're walking in the shadows and the shade of the buildings.
That feels protective.
You feel comfortable there. You'll walk past a collapsed building, just a big pile of masonry and wood. And the odd thing that you notice is that none of the wood is attached to any other piece of wood.
Oh.
It's almost as if all of the nails had been removed, and it's just a big pile of lumber and masonry and building construction materials.
Now, can I reference on my map to figure out what this place was?
That would be that's number 11 on the map.
Okay.
But it's the map says it's Diodora Jewelry and Rogers Gadgets.
All right.
So it's a fairly large pile of materials.
Well, those probably aren't very useful gadgets anymore.
Well, actually, there are some gadgets in the pile.
Interesting. Maybe poke through that then.
Okay.
Ever the tinkerer Tavis is.
You'll see what looks like a little mechanical rabbit. Like a little wind-up thing on the side. It looks like the mouth opens and shuts. It looks like the legs move. Maybe the tail moves as well. You'll see what looks like a spider. Although you don't see any turning mechanism on it. It seems like all the legs have various joints and they move. You'll see something that looks like a handheld something. It has a little gauge on it, and there's just a little arrow that appears to spin around, but there's no. You're not really sure what it does. It's just a little gauge and a handhold on it.
Well, that's the most interesting. The other ones seem like toys, which would be great if I were, strong enough to carry the world on my shoulders. But the sack can really only hold so much without weighing heavily.
But it seems like if you dug around, you might find more, but that's the stuff you see on top.
Yeah. I think that he'll pick up the thing with the gauge out of curiosity and throw it in his bag.
Okay.
And continue onward through his wonderful tour of, this
uptown.
Frightening Disneyland.
So it's furthering. Can't talk. You continue onwards. Skirting the edges of town center. Some of the other buildings you might see here. You see light your wick candles and the potter.
Mm-hmm.
You don't see any movement at all, though, in those places. You see Go ahead.
Sorry.
No, go ahead.
I think that he will just try to keep moving unless there's something that strikes him as very significant.
Okay. So you'll see an assortment of businesses and so forth then. But you don't really see any movement. You look down at your map, and at some point, moving around, you think you are behind the number 1 on the map, the sort of the place of government. There's a jail there, various other places of interest, such as the constables there. There's a courthouse. You think these are all sort of contained in this large building. Town scribe, performing arts building. It's all like you're guessing probably on different levels, but you're not sure.
Well, it sounds great. It sounds like everything one would hope the town hall would be. So, confidently, I suppose he'll make his way in through the back door.
Okay.
Because that seems safest.
So
he just doesn't want to be seen by those lights.
You'll see a door there. It opens up. It's open, and there's just a stairwell in front of you. It seems like there is a door that goes forward. It says jail, and then there's just the stairwell up.
Okay. The jail has me curious, so I think Tavis will step into that area and see if there's anyone currently being held.
Okay. You'll enter another door, and there are empty cells to your left and to your right. One thing that you do notice, however, is on the wall in probably about 3 of the different cells, there's more of that gypsy scribble that you saw. It seems like perhaps the gypsies were locked up here.
That's strange, especially given that I was told they ran away.
Yeah. You'll see, you just look over and you'll read what looks like maybe like a child wrote them. It's some sort of nursery rhyme about dying mice.
Okay.
It wasn't finished. It started out about the 3 dying mice kept walking, running down the road when walking stopped. And you sort of like, it doesn't really make much sense. And it's sort of, like it definitely seems like a child's handwriting. It's not even. The letters are varying sizes. The cat devoured them all is the last line that's there.
Now, does the Raven's reaction change at all when he sees this writing?
Yeah, you'll see that it gets less comfortable, and you'll see it sort of flap down to the ground, and it waddles into one of the cells.
Okay. I'm going to watch it for a while, just to see what it makes of the situation, because obviously it is recognizing what may be its former owner's writing.
You'll see the Raven flap up to what would be shoulder height,
mm-hmm.
and then it rests on nothing.
Oh. Okay.
The temperature in the room will start to drop slowly. You'll begin to start seeing your breath come out of your mouth. Maybe you get some goosebumps on your arm. Maybe the hairs on the back of your neck rise up slightly. And
sorry.
Go.
No, I shouldn't.
You're cool. Go ahead.
Okay. Is the cell door locked?
No, it's not.
So it's free to swing open.
Yes, it is.
All right. So they're certainly not bound here by that.
You'll see, various beds that are there, sort of cots that they have set up. You'll actually still see a little child's toy over in the corner.
Mm-hmm. What kind? Is it similar to the marionette of the girl?
It's very ornately crafted and painted. It looks like a small horse.
Oh.
And it kind of looks like like if you weren't in the room, you wouldn't be able to see it as easily. Like, now that you went in, it was sort of like tucked behind one of the beds, so maybe the jailers didn't see it, but it's still there. It's very garishly painted. The saddle is like 5 different colors. It has like a red mane to it, but it seems a very loved toy. It has lots of scratch marks. The legs have been repaired multiple times, glued and wrapped around with cloth, but the legs are sort of you think broken underneath, like almost like the child must have been, like going down the road with it, and like the horse is marching and one of the legs broke. So it seems like it's so loved that even though it's broken, it was still greatly cherished by the child.
Yeah.
But the crow or the raven moves forward, but not by itself. Whatever it's resting on that isn't there is moving over towards you.
Interesting. Okay.
Like I said, you feel cold and
The noise of that is probably enough at this point to startle Davis. So he'll start backing out of the cell, and
wait,
and freeze in place. He
vengeance.
Okay, that doesn't really sound like a little boy word.
No, and you're not really sure why, but in your mind's eye, you see an old gypsy woman in front of you. It's almost like it's not what your eyes are seeing; it's what your mind is seeing, and you see the raven on her shoulder. And her mouth is sort of opened and outstretched and elongated more than you think it should in what you're seeing in your mind.
Can I step past her into the cell again?
You just tell me what you try to do. Do you try to
okay?
You try to walk through her?
I think that Tavis is going to sort of raise his hands and indicate that he's sidling through into the cell. And I think he's going to move and try to pick up the horse and take it out.
Okay. As you walk through that doorway there, you feel this sort of piercing, cold pain in the center of your being, and perhaps in the center of your chest. You almost get the feeling that your heart rate slows, that it's very strange and surreal. It feels like you're moving through water. There's resistance in the air, but you move through without any problem. And
does the feeling subside?
It does once you get past that area where the raven is perched.
Oh, okay.
So on the other side, you probably have a sense of relief, and you do pick up the child's toy, and the toy itself seems to be warm.
Oh, that's interesting. And just the ambient temperature, even before I started noticing the chill, would have been
very comfortable room temperature. So the child's toy seems warmer than what you expect it to be. It's startling itself. And you'll see the old woman's hand. It's sort of weird because, like I said, you're not seeing anything, but you are. So it's almost like there's like a...
Yeah, you just get the idea that an old woman's hand is.
Yeah, I guess that's a better way to describe it. But you'll see her outstretched hand pointing towards the center of town. And she doesn't say anything this time.
Because Tavis is experiencing her as kind of something in his head, as a thought.
Okay.
I don't think he feels the need to actually speak, but he's going to hold the toy horse to his chest, nod in acknowledgement of the way the ghost is, or the grandmother is pointing.
So you nod. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And just sort of holding the horse, give the impression of I will remember this, and I'll do what I can.
Okay, so you nod and you say, okay. Why don't you give me a save versus spell?
Okay, all right. That'll be fun.
This is a D20, and you want to roll that number or over.
Right. Okay. And I do not.
Okay, that cold walking through water feeling that you just had when you passed through her happens again as you see the raven move towards you quickly. The raven will sort of flutter in the air and land on your shoulder. And this is where you take on a role of passenger yourself. This is where you feel yourself inside the raven.
Oh. You
have the sudden, overwhelming increase of senses here. You pick up strange smells, and even your sight seems different as you quickly move your eyes left and right. You can feel the raven there too. It's almost as if the raven is you and you are the raven, but you're separate, but you're whole, and there's all kinds of paradoxes and enigmas that are what, and you're probably, I guess what do you think you're feeling, or what do you think you're thinking at that moment?
I think Tavis may be panicked and thinking he's made a huge mistake. Something may have been misinterpreted about what you just did. He's also just trying to figure out what's going on with his body. Can he see it from the perspective of the raven?
Yes, as you move your head and out of your own throat without your volition comes like wah, 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 and you look around and
so it's just a swap.
You look down and you see your own body moving, but it looks like your body is moving out from where you just came and is walking slowly towards the town center.
Okay. All right. Well,
do you try anything? Do you try to do anything? Do you do you shit on your own shoulder? Like, what do you try to do here?
So I have control over the raven's movement.
You're not sure. You haven't. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Hopefully I do.
Yeah.
I think that I will try to, in case this is the horse's fault, try to grab it with raven claws and toss it away, basically, if I have that much control.
Okay. How about you roll under intelligence?
Okay.
With a D20. See if you can sort of wrestle control of the animal's brain.
I do roll under.
Okay. So you feel this sort of tugging sensation, like a force of wills, a tug of rope almost, that taking over the limbs and the wings of the creature. But you flap down and your claws grab onto the legs of the horse, and where do you want to take it?
I just want to move it on the ground about 5 feet away.
Let's see here. Why don't you roll D20 and try to get under a 10? That's probably the strength of the.
Nope, didn't happen.
So you're flapping your wings and fluttering. You have your claws on the broken leg of this little horse, and you'll feel the horse get pulled back by the arm.
Right.
Do you want to stay with your body? Do you want to fly away? You could do that.
Okay. I suppose then that I will try and get a aerial vantage point over town square if that's where my body's heading.
Okay. So you take to the wind, you take to the air, flapping, and the only movement you really see is in town center. Everyone else seems to be in their houses, hoping that the knights don't come knock on their door. You're guessing, and you have this strange hunger that's in your stomach, almost like you're just very hungry, and you're craving corn, which is
Corn.
like raw corn. That's what you're craving.
Right. Okay.
But you see these knights. They're torturing this middle-aged woman. She's now tied up to one of the other poles. Looks like the boy that was there before is just sort of hanging limply, like you're not sure if he's dead or unconscious. So they're whipping this woman. And you just see your body slowly walking into the midst of them. Not holding any weapons, just holding a small broken horse in your hands.
Okay. All right. Do I have a sense where in the town hall the mayor's office would be?
There are some windows. Let's see if they're open. Let's roll a dice and see if they are. There are some upper level windows that they're open, but you're not really sure, what's where. You just know that the jail's on the bottom floor at this point.
All right. I don't feel like I have time to see if I could summon an authority, and I'm not really sure they would do anything. Especially if all I can summon from my raven throat is Ka. It may be more than that, but...
Well, you haven't tried anything, so you don't be so quick to rule things out unless you've tried. I guess that's just
true.
GM wise. So.
All right, then I will fly maybe 10 feet off the ground in the center of the town square in all this chaos, and well, I guess it is fairly orderly, but the screaming and torture, and.
Yeah, what you just said, maybe I should have said this earlier. In my games, I just tell me what you want to try to do, and I'll just tell you either what happens or what you need to roll, basically. So don't be too afraid of thinking outside the box, basically.
Okay. I think that. I'm trying to figure out how lucid Tavis is going to be at this point. Yeah, he's just going to panic and yell, they're coming right outside town.
Okay. And surprisingly, a voice comes out of your raven throat, comes out of your beak. As you're flying over top of the knights' heads, you yell this, and they stop whipping the woman. They look up at you, startled, maybe even a little terrified.
Mm-hmm.
And they look around, and that's what happens. They seem like they've stopped for the moment.
Sure. The end is nigh, the angry dead, vengeful spirits, flee!
When you say spirits, you seem to notice that one word has a lot more weight than you expected it to have.
Oh, okay. Positively? Or,
Just, you'll even notice some of the people that are being, that are in their nets. They look up at you, and although you get sort of a feeling that they have a sense of hope when you said that word. So the knights kind of look like they're a little scared, and the people look like they have some hope when you said that word.
Interesting. Taking hope myself from this reaction, I think Tavis is beak will utter forth, from the west, from the north, from the south. Run or face, sure, spiritual perdition.
You'll see the woman that's chained up. She'll just have this strange smile on her face, especially since her back is bleeding and lashed probably about 10 or 12 times. You'll see the knights sort of looking over at each other. There is one that doesn't seem as fearful, doesn't seem as concerned. You'll see him pull up a bow, and he's starting to put an arrow into it.
Yeah.
But then he notices that your body is walking towards them, and he sort of he's looking up, and then he's looking over at you. Your body, and you'll see that you're walking closer. You're probably about 15 feet away from the closest knight. Your body at this point.
How are the nets secured to the ground?
It doesn't seem like they're secured at all. It just seems like they're tied. Like the edges of the net are tied so that they can't get out of them.
Oh, okay.
So, I mean, if you're looking down, you think that they could probably stick their legs out, and the holes in the net are not that small. They could actually probably run.
All right.
They're just obviously just surrounded by knights with swords in their hands.
Okay. Well, the one with the arrow is distracted.
Yeah, it looks like he was going to shoot, but now he's looking at your walking body holding something. Yeah, he probably can't tell from this distance.
I think the raven is going to, or Davis in the raven is going to attempt to swoop closer to the ground, and in fact closer to the nets, and see if he can hack at the knots with his beak, or try and undo them.
Oh, okay. So you'll fly down and let's see here. How about you roll under a 15 on a d20? We'll just say that it has a pretty high dex for the little raven.
Yep, 8.
Okay, so one of the nets that probably has about 4 people, you untie the knot. You'll see the people sort of looking at you, and that sense of hope, that sense of something good is going to happen from this. Take advantage of the untied knot. They start to hurry up, get themselves out of the net, and they'll start to run away. And at this point, it seems like he's some sort of head knight or prominent knight. He has sort of like a widow's peak, dark hair, just sort of like a strong, stern face about him. Starts yelling, "Get them! They're fleeing!" What? And at the moment, he doesn't seem like he knows what to do. He has this bird that's talking, that's untying people. He has this strange person slowly walking towards him, and now people are running. So some of the knights are running after the prisoners that have been freed. The arrow is no longer pointed at you, probably because he can't even get a good shot at you at this point. And he looks over at your body and says, "Stop!" And your body just keeps slowly taking step after step after step, just holding this sad little broken toy in his hands. Do you want to try to untie more of them? Do you want to do something else?
While he's facing the body, I think I'm going to try to swoop down and land on his shoulder and whisper something into his ear.
Okay. What do you whisper?
I don't know how well a raven can whisper, but, whatever volume it has to be, the dead stop for no one.
All right, I'm going to roll a dice just to see what he thinks of that. That could be kind of disconcerting. Oh, okay. That that sense of him being stern and doing what he was supposed to do and leading everyone suddenly shatters. He drops his bow. That's my son. He drops his bow and he'll start. What does he do? He probably runs after. No. I'm guessing he's just gonna start running out of town. Okay. That freaked him out to a point that he doesn't want to stay here any longer.
All right, I'm fairly satisfied with that.
Some of the other guards, they're running after the prisoners. Probably not guards, the knights. 4 of them have probably moved over towards your body, and they're holding their swords out at arm's length. And then you're going to see your own mouth open, and flies start to pour out.
Oh dear.
They start crawling out of what you see looking down at your nostrils, and they're just flying all around.
I don't remember reading that.
It seems like there's blood dripping out of them as they fly. The road and the ground beneath them is starting to be splattered. And they start to swarm around the 4 knights that are there.
I'm going to hope that is suitably terrifying and continue undoing nets.
Okay. It seems like no one is actually around the nets at this point. They're either chasing the freed people or slapping their faces and falling down and rolling around on the ground trying to get all these flies off of them. So you probably free a good portion of the people that are there, and some of these people are a little bit more brave. They're going to start to untie some of the nets as well.
Excellent. All right. I guess I'll fly into the midst of the into the midst of the guards and squawk out to the lake. The flies will eat your innards.
The men's morale seems to have been thoroughly destroyed. The ones that are on the ground are slapping their faces, trying to get these flies off them. They start running, except for one. One moves over to your body and viciously hacks down with a sword.
Okay. Yeah. That's to be expected, really.
So, when that happens, the horse falls out of your own hands, and you feel this sort of strange tearing, almost like if someone tore your face. There's this sudden burst of pain.
Oh.
And you are no longer in the Raven. You are in yourself. You look down, and you have a large slash across your chest.
Okay.
You're probably looking up at this person who has the sword is covered in your own blood. But he just, I don't know. After that, he follows the rest of his men, and he starts heading out of town. They're not even taking their horses at this point. The horses are probably still tied up around that pool structure in the center.
Mm-hmm.
So you are once again in your own body, and
bleeding profusely.
And bleeding.
Okay.
And the Raven has come and landed on your shoulder again.
All right. I'm going to go see whether that apothecary or alchemist has anything that could, bandage me or, make me feel a bit more comfortable. And I'll see if this stone is useful at all, or at least soothing. If the idea of it helping is a helpful placebo effect.
It doesn't seem your wound isn't healing up by itself or anything like that. Yeah, from what you can see, it's not doing anything for you at this moment.
It's a glowing rock.
It's a glowing rock that could be a paperweight, for all
Okay.
you know.
Great. Definitely heading towards that mayor's wife.
You will see that some of the people that you in bird form have freed are that they're getting the rest of the nets open. One of them comes over and helps you out, or helps you up. He comes over and talks to you. What? How did you do that?
How did I do what? Spit flies from my mouth? I'm not entirely certain. Must be those spirits.
You may be a worshipper of Shaza, but you have rescued us this day.
What is that name? Shaza?
You think that Shaza is sort of like an evil deity.
Okay, great. All right. Good to know.
So if they see somebody with flies flying out of their mouth, they kind of assume that. But he's looking at you, and he's patting you on the shoulder. He seems very genuine in his thanks. He says, "I am Roger of the town militia."
I'm Tavis. I've been looking for my friends here.
Oh, perhaps Ramalzi and Rayhan and the strange priest Mallow.
The very same. I found the inn they'd been staying at, but it seems to be laid to waste.
That's strange. I had not heard that.
Well, take a look inside for yourself. It's a grisly scene.
Perhaps I'll have to have some of my men look at that.
For the moment, though, can you advise me as to where I might spend some time and rest? I'm not well off, I say, indicating down to my gaping chest wound.
I'd say you could go to the Leech, but they have met a grisly end. Yeah, the witch woman as well. She is no more. There's been a lot of death and violence lately. As for your friends, I know they had been talking to the mayor, but I don't think they're currently talking to him now. I'm not sure of their whereabouts. So perhaps they are around town, or I can't guess.
Do you know of any place I could lodge for the rest of the day and perhaps a night?
I would suggest staying at the inn if that's where your friends should end up. I cannot guess. They go very many different directions. They even go up into the mountains at times. Perhaps they will be back soon.
Okay. Well, thanks for helping me out anyway. I've got to do something about this. Again, indicating towards the gaping chest wound, Tavis wanders off towards the mayor's wife.
Okay. You know the way.
Yeah.
So you head back there, and
this time I'll knock, I guess.
Okay. She'll come out to the main door, and she'll look down. Oh! Come right in. Please sit down. I'll take care of that.
So I see your night situation has improved.
Oh, it has? I have not looked. What happened?
The screaming has diminished, sir.
Oh. Then she'll look out the window. Oh, they're not even there anymore. That's good. Ugh. Or bad. I wonder what they're doing now.
Hopefully, in flight.
Well, yes. Here, let me bandage that up for you. Please sit down. I'll soak the bandages in this liquid here. That should aid the healing process at least.
I'm very grateful. Unfortunately, I found no sign of my friends. Or, well, I found a sign of where they've been. Haven't bumped into them yet. Any other indication as to where they might be?
They might be up in the mountains. I've heard that they travel there sometimes. It is not wise to go there, though. It's very dangerous.
What's dangerous about it?
Oh,
It's the height.
the strange trees. They've turned color. They've all become red.
So they weren't always like this.
My husband had talked a little about that the other night. He said something that strange creatures had grown from fruits on those trees, and they posed a danger to the town.
Your town doesn't seem like a very safe place to live. No offense. Has it always been so chaotic?
It seems to have taken a turn for the worse in the last weeks, but yes, we've always had our share of troubles here. Strange people, and of course, outsiders come in, as yourself, and some of them are worse than others.
Well.
But your wound is bandaged up to the best of my ability.
Oh, thank you very much. I should trouble you no further. With that, Tavis stands to go, and I think he's going to check the mayor's office one last time.
So rules wise, he probably took about 6 points of damage, and you've healed up 3. So.
Oh, wow. Great. Okay. So he's feeling alright.
Your chest is probably a little itchy.
Mm-hmm.
It has a pain to it still.
Yeah,
but
still
you're not bleeding out of your chest at the moment.
Yeah, that helps. That always makes the day a little brighter. I think Tavis is at this point curious enough that he has to go back into the jail and see if he's pleased this woman. Obviously, he's going to be more careful about not touching things and whatnot.
Maybe not nodding your head and saying, yes, you'll do something about it.
Yeah, that too.
Okay.
Just going to see, was that all right? Did that work?
So you'll head back into the jail itself, and the temperature is normal.
All right.
There's no cold chill at all. You don't see anything. The bird doesn't walk into the cell. And you do remember that little horse is still out in where the nets and stuff were.
Yeah.
But yeah, you don't see or feel anything.
I think the horse is doing just fine there. I think. Well, it would be a little bit of a nuisance if someone else wandered over and picked it up, assuming it had anything close to the same effect. I don't think Tavis is going to bother wandering over and trying to move it.
That's fine.
I'll just check the offices upstairs.
As you're in the cell, getting ready to leave, you'll hear the door on the other side open, and there's a man that's dressed in what you assume is some sort of official capacity. And he sort of looks surprised that there's somebody in the cell. There's someone back here in the cell. So. What's your business here?
I'm looking for the mayor.
Well, he's not in the cell, if that's where you're looking.
Oh, well, I suppose not.
And what is your name? I am Constable Stark.
I'm Tavis. Tavis Strum.
Yes, and what are you doing here?
Browsing around to see who was where and what was what. It's been a chaotic day from the looks of it.
Oh, yes, that. I saw you out there.
Mhm.
He looks kind of scared of you at this point.
So, do you know where
the-
the mayor is?
Yes, the mayor's just upstairs, the top floor.
Thank you. I'll be up that way then. Is there anything else?
Just, you think at first he didn't recognize who you were until he started talking to you, and he's like, oh wait, that's the guy that was out there breathing flies. So,
Well, I don't think Tavis minds that sort of attention. So,
just top of the stairs, and please don't touch anything.
I won't. All right. He heads on up.
So you'll head up the stairs, and I think this might actually be a good place to break because
Probably because they may show.
well, actually, the last session they were still talking to the mayor, so
Yeah. So
I'm
that makes a great deal of sense.
I'm just gonna basically say that you're gonna come up there, see the mayor, see your friends there, and they're gonna be completely oblivious to what just happened out in the town square. So you can tell them that, I guess. And,
All right. I'll find a way to phrase that doesn't make me seem like a demon.
And I'm not sure where everyone was today. That was really strange because they basically all said they could be here today.
A little bit bizarre.
Yeah. But I don't know. That was your. I figured I like to reward attendance, and you were here, and it was supposed to be your first day. So, do you have any thoughts about today's session? I don't know. I usually just let the players kind of ramble on a little bit at the end.
Oh, it's definitely a fascinating place. It's tricky because I think that Tavis, as much as he strives to be someone great and has a bunch of ambition, he doesn't really feel like he is at this point. So he's extremely cautious, and I hope that's not super boring. But
No, that's fine. You can play it any way you want. From my perspective, it was interesting when you agree. Like, you didn't even know what you were agreeing to. Like, I don't even think you realized you were agreeing. I think that was kind of funny.
yeah,
Like, she was being vague as hell. Yeah. And she basically just said one word, vengeance. And you said, you basically nodded your head and, I'll try to do something, and that's what you thought. It was interesting the way that worked out. I was like, oh, okay, well, I think this is what's going to happen then.
she's like a possessive spirit that at least asks for consent before, invading people's bodies or whatever.
Yeah,
or sending a raven to do so.
Just in a very vague,
Yeah.
vague ass way that,
Yeah. Well, I mean, wishful thinking and all that. Yeah, I mean, people come to this town for adventure, so I think that it has already proven an ample supply of it. Although Tavis will be significantly more comfortable when it's more than just him.
Yeah, that was probably a little bit scary. It's like, oh, I'm in a new place with a bunch of weird, strange people,
And my body's separate from me. And I'm a bird. And there are people with swords.
Oh, snap, I'm a bird. How'd that happen?
Yeah. But, you do what you can with what you're dealt in life.
And hopefully next time we'll get everybody together. We'll see how it works. I'll try to find out what happened. I'm actually supposed to play with Zig at 1 o'clock. Maybe he just thought we weren't playing today. I don't know.
Oh.
I have no idea.
Yeah.
Well,
or, people could be sick, or...
Yeah, that's true.
I don't know.
But, all right, man. I'll let you know via, I guess, a message on YouTube or whatever.
Great.
The next time we get to play. I think it might be next week, but I'll let you know.
Oh, it's been fun. Thanks.
And thanks for playing.
And thank you for introducing me to your wonderful and terrifying world.
All right, man. I'll talk to you later.
Yep.
All right,
Bye for
bye.
now.